Good evening to all and welcome to the session, the Hindu Editorial Analysis for Proficiency in English. Today's editorial is all about the nasal vaccine against COVID-19. A very short editorial, not that difficult to comprehend, and only a few words to learn. It may not take a lot of time. Let us start the session with editorial vocabulary. What is the first word over here? Am I audible? Good evening to all of you. Please answer my question. Am I audible? The very first word, incremental. Incremental part of speech adjective, happening gradually in a series of small amounts. Small amounts, that too, gradually. We use the word incremental. And what is a part of speech adjective? Plow. Plow can be a noun, can be a verb. As a noun, thank you very much. Thanks for responding. As a noun, a plow is a farm tool for loosening or turning the soil before sowing seed or planting. Usually farmers, usually farmers, they plow the soil before planting or before sowing the seeds. And I would like to tell, it can be a noun, it can be a verb. Those who have science background, I'm sure they know this word, Petri dish. If you go to botany lab or zoology lab where research is done, you come across Petri dishes. So what is a Petri dish? Usually it is made of glass, a small shallow dish of thin glass, not plastic, as far as my knowledge goes, glass, with a loose cover used especially for cultures in bacteriology. Tissue culture plants also, they use Petri dishes, and in labs they use Petri dishes. Not that important. We have got the word yield many a time. It can be, it has a positive connotation, it has a negative connotation. It can be a verb, it can be a noun. The yield, noun, yielded, verb. What is a positive connotation? It goes with usually agriculture, produce or provide a natural, agricultural or industrial product, yield. As a verb, yield positive meaning, yielded something. But negative meaning, to surrender, but there is a phrasal verb you have to recollect. What is that phrasal verb? To give in. Give in means surrender. That is a negative meaning. Then retard. There is one expression you have to recollect. Mentally retarded. Retard means to shunt. That means stunting the growth. To hold back or delay or hold back in terms of progress or development. When we use the expression mentally retarded, that means not developed mentally, retarded growth. Usually it goes with the word growth. Counter can be a noun, can be a verb. Prospective bankers, I'm sure you guys know the word counter, this counter, that counter. But here it has been used as a verb, countering, as a verb to react to something with an opposing opinion or action. Counter. Spreads, a new word we have got for the first time. I think this is the only word you have to remember, or one more word is there. What does it mean? Again, this word can be a noun, can be a verb. To squirt or spray. Spray a liquid at or onto something in quick short bursts. In this context, spraying the dose, nasal one, against COVID-19. Jab goes more with informal English. Poke roughly or quickly, especially with something sharp or pointed. But jab also means injection, another word, but it goes more with informal English, not formal English. This is again a new word. Whenever you come across new words, vaccine, jab, you're right. Please spend some time after the session. Make your own examples. Try to associate. Only then you can remember. Trypanophobia. What is this? Trypanophobia. You all know the meaning of the word phobia. Phobia means what? Fear. What is this trypanophobia? extreme fear of medical procedures that involve needles. In a way, those who are afraid of taking injections, they have this phobia. Heterogeneous, we have got many a time. Yes, I will be doing that soon. Heterogeneous, diverse in character or content. A realm, how do you pronounce this word? A realm, an important word. Part of speech noun, a field or domain of activity or interest. You can also think of the word realm means sphere, field, sphere, a particular activity, a particular field. Influenza, it goes with science, a highly contagious viral infection of the respiratory passages, a technical term in a way, a medical term. Trial has two or three meanings. I'm sure you guys know if you go to a court, what exactly happens over there? Trial. The first hearing, second hearing, the judgment, the whole thing is called trial. But another meaning in this context, it can be a noun, it can be a verb, a test of the performance, qualities, or suitability of someone or something. In this context, something. That is a vaccine. Adverse impact. Adverse, we have got many a time an important word. Part of speech adjective. What does it mean? Preventing success or development, harmful or unfavorable. Adverse means negative, unfavorable. One combination, adverse report, means what? Negative report. Pursue, verb form, pursuit, noun form. What is the meaning of pursue? Follow or chase someone or something. Not someone, but usually it is something. That is your goal. Then we use the word pursue. Pursue your goals with enthusiasm. That's very important. You have to recollect trial and trail. Both are entirely different. That's very good. Tapa. Now let us go to a very short editorial, only a few words. One reading you should be able to understand, but it is important. What is the reason? You may get COVID-19 has made a devastating impact on people, societies, economies around the world. And you may get as a passage in the exam any aspect related to COVID-19. That way it is important. Nose dose. Generally we say nose dive, but here you got to be a little careful. Nose dose. You all know the word dose, medical term. Nose dose related to nose. What is the main idea of this editorial? The nasal vaccine against COVID-19 should help in quicker coverage of the population. All these days, you guys know, we have been taking the shots, injections. Now, there's a new thing. What is it? Nasal vaccine. The nasal vaccine against COVID-19 should help in quicker coverage of the population. There's one helping verb over here, should. It has two functions. One, it is nasal spray, exactly. It is used to advise or suggest someone, one meaning. The other meaning, should, is used to express a possibility, but chances are less. The history of the pandemic has been punctuated periodically by incremental developments in science and medicine. This is all about the pandemic, COVID-19. And here you have to recollect the words endemic, epidemic, pandemic, local, endemic, wider, let's say a country, then we say, or a state, epidemic. Involving many countries, we use the word pandemic. All the three words you have to recollect. The history of the pandemic has been punctuated. This is in present perfect passive voice, has been punctuated periodically by incremental developments in science and medicine. Here, there is one important word, incremental. It's an adjective. What is a noun over here? Developments. Incremental means what? Happening gradually in a series of small amounts. One thing is not all of a sudden, not overnight, gradually, and not in large chunks. Series of small amounts, we use the word incremental. Funding, industry, and research were plowed into laboratories with the hope that their Petri dishes would yield solutions to save lives and retard the march of the virus. Here it talks about what does it mean, the sentence? funding, pumping in a lot of money, industry and research, so many players, stakeholders, and so many sources were plowed into labs. Means what? They invested, they spent a lot of, it could be money, it could be research efforts, whatever, into laboratories. Why did they do that? With the hope that their Petri dishes would yield solutions. So research usually takes place in Petri dishes. So why did they do that? With the hope. What is the hope? Their Petri dishes would yield solutions. In this context, yield means what? Give solutions. And what are these solutions' purpose? To save lives and retard the march of the virus. When they get the solution, obviously they save lives. That is one thing. On the one hand, on the other hand, the solution may retard the march of the virus. Here, the march of the virus means what? The development of the virus, and it may retard. Retard means what? Stop, delay, or hold back. As I said, this generally goes with growth, retarded growth, stunted growth, and mentally retarded. One expression you have to recollect. While many vaccines have provided that assurance of life, usually vaccines, what do? They provide assurance of life. While many vaccines have provided that assurance of life, prevented hospitalization, and also reduced the severity of disease. Here, the sentence talks about the positive impact of vaccines. They have provided that assurance of life. Second, prevented hospitalization. Third, also reduced the severity of disease. It is only a nasal vaccine that carries within it the promise of preventing further transmission by countering it at the site of the viral entry into the body. A lengthy sentence, a bit difficult to make out, but here, no doubt, vaccines are very useful. These are the positive impacts. But this particular vaccine, what is it? Nasal vaccine. It is different. How is it different? It is only a nasal vaccine that carries within it the promise or the ability of preventing further transmission of the virus by countering it at the site of viral entry into the body. How does the virus enter the body? Through the nose. So a nasal vaccine stops the virus there itself at the site of viral entry into the body. That's how it counters. There's one word over here, counter, to react to something with an opposing opinion or action. And you have to recollect the expression counterproductive. What does it mean, counterproductive? Something is counterproductive. You do something expecting a positive result, but you may get a negative result, then we say counterproductive. In that sense, the announcement that a nasal vaccine had been given emergency use authorization for use as primary immunization to the 18 plus age group is welcome because it has a different function altogether. Usual vaccines, they act on the body, once inside the body on the virus. But if you take a nasal vaccine, it stops the virus at the entry level, the site of the viral entry into the body. That way it is better. In that sense, the announcement that a nasal vaccine had been given emergency use authorization for use as primary immunization to the 18 plus age group is welcome. It is something highly appreciable and good. So it is welcome. A nasal vaccine, this is all about one thing, COVID-19, how to face. Another, it's more about nasal vaccine. It's a new thing. A nasal vaccine, if effective, is probably the most advanced tool to handle COVID-19 as of now. We are not quite sure, but imagine there's a condition. What is the condition? A nasal vaccine, if at all effective, is probably the most advanced tool to handle COVID-19 as of now. And by virtue of being a SPRIDS, this is a new word we have got for the first time. Means what? SPRIDS means spray, squirt. Squirt goes more with not a regular word, but spray is a regular word. Spray a liquid at or onto something or someone in quick short bursts. Here you can substitute this word SPRIDS with spray in the nose or mouth will be preferable to painful jabs. So this sentence talks about the advantages of the nasal vaccine. A nasal vaccine, if effective, is probably the most advanced tool to handle COVID-19 as of now. Why? And by virtue of being a spritz in the nose or mouth, will be preferable to painful jabs. Usually people are scared of getting an injection. So this is better, particularly with children or adults with trypanophobia. This is a new word again. These two words are very important. And see, I am doing editorial analysis. Please focus on editorial analysis. Don't come up with new questions which are not related to editorial analysis. Anything related to editorial analysis, I'll be happy to answer. Don't, but don't try to, but don't try to bring new questions off the track. That is nothing but distraction. Here, this is a new word. What does it mean? Trypanophobia. Extreme fear of medical procedures that involve needles. That means injections. Particularly with children or adults with trypanophobia that might have come in the way of their getting the vaccines. They might have avoided based on this phobia. Now they don't have to worry because they have this spray in the nose or mouth and absolutely no problem. While in theory, the nasal vaccine ensures that the virus is stopped from binding with host cells at the very point of entry into the human body, there is very little evidence of that working in a COVID-19 scenario among humans. Oh, this sentence says, while in theory, the nasal vaccine ensures that the virus is stopped from binding with host cells at the very point of entry into the human body, that is the nose. There is very little evidence, means no evidence of that working in a COVID-19 scenario among humans. They have to do more research and find out. While an influenza nasal vaccine has reportedly worked, three other nasal vaccines have been approved for use elsewhere in the world, but very little data is available from that. Same thing is being elaborated. While an influenza nasal vaccine, here there's one word. What does it mean? A highly contagious viral infection of the respiratory passages has reportedly worked, something positive. Three other nasal vaccines have been approved for use elsewhere in the world, but very contrasting information. But very little data is available from that. Not much, very little data. Now, this is an important word. Sometimes students ask me, sir, data is a plural form. How come a singular verb? Please remember and recollect, I have told many a time, datum singular, data plural, one thing. But data is also a collective noun. Here it has been used as a collective noun. Any collective noun takes a singular verb and a singular pronoun, usually. Based on that, a singular verb. But if the sentence talks about division, then we have to use a plural verb and a plural pronoun. Here, singular verb, nothing wrong. Data is available from that, but contrasting information. In the trials conducted by the Bharat Biotech for the nasal vaccine, developed in association with the University of Washington, the reactogenic events and adverse events that were documented during the trial were highly comparable to the published data from other COVID-19 vaccines. This talks about the trials conducted by Bharat Biotech for the nasal vaccine, developed in association with the University of Washington. What have they found? The reactogenic events and adverse events, adverse means negative, that were documented during the trial were highly comparable to the published data from other COVID-19 vaccines. That means they're on the same right track. The company reportedly conducted a phase 3 trial with about 3,100 unvaccinated people who received 2 doses of the nasal vaccine and a booster trial with about 875 people who received a single dose of the nasal vaccine as a heterogeneous booster. This talks about the trial, phase 3, the numbers more related to statistical data. 3,100 unvaccinated people, They received 2 doses of the nasal vaccine and a booster trial with about 875 people who received a single dose of the nasal vaccine. Easy to understand because it is all about the statistical data. How many people received 2 doses of the nasal vaccine? How many people received only 1 dose of nasal vaccine? As a heterogeneous booster. There is one important word, heterogeneous. What is the opposite of heterogeneous? Homogeneous. Homogeneous means same. Heterogeneous, diverse. The company has also promised that it would publish the data from the trial soon in the public realm. They have done some work and they are willing to publish. They said they would publish the data from the trials soon. And where are they going to publish? In the public realm. Realm is an important word, a field or domain of activity or interest. How the second part of the editorial, while the fall in cases has allowed the world to take its foot off the pedal, now the number has come down, the number of cases. While the fall in cases has allowed the world to take its foot off the pedal, that means now people are relaxed. Efforts against the disease will have to be pursued. We should not stop, we should not completely relax. Efforts against the disease will have to be pursued. Pursued means what? Follow or chase someone or something. In this context, not someone, something. But this drop in numbers does afford a certain pause in pace because the numbers have come down. The numbers have come down. The number singular, the numbers plural. We can afford a certain pause in pace. Pace means speed. We can allow a pause in the pace or speed. We don't have to hurry up. What is the reason? The numbers have come down drastically. The results of the trials and data must now be allowed to enter the public realm, even as emergency use authorization is being processed for use of drugs or vaccines in the community. Same idea, what is it? The data must now be allowed to enter the public realm, even as emergency use authorization is being processed for use of drugs or vaccines in the community. The government too must factor this in its agenda, emphasizing the promotion of transparency now and in the future. Not only the industry, the government too must factor this in its agenda, emphasizing certain things. What are those things? Emphasizing promotion of transparency, being transparent now and in the future, even as it ensures continuing commitment of various departments involved in battling all aspects of the virus. It talks about the role of the government, what it is supposed to do. In addition, delivering the vaccines to the general public and covering those untouched by the primary 2 doses and the boosters should remain high on the agenda. We still have people, those who haven't got the primary 2 doses and the boosters. And we should, the last sentence talks about the government should focus on that particular group and that should remain high on the agenda, top priority. On that particular note, the editorial ends. That's all about today's editorial, a very short editorial, not difficult to comprehend because we have got so many times editorials related to COVID-19, the vaccines, all these. Let us have a look at questions based on this editorial. The first one, what is this editorial about? What has been punctuated periodically by incremental developments in science and medicine? So many key words, you can easily navigate, locate, and write the answer. What will be preferable to painful jabs? Here you have to recollect, preferable is a comparative adjective. Comparative adjectives take the preposition to, not than. That has to be recollected. What has allowed the world to take its foot off the pedal? Something has allowed. Easy to answer based on the keywords. Allowed the world to take its foot off the pedal means remove from the pedal. What should remain high on the agenda? I've just read out the last part of the fag end of the editorial you come across. This particular, you can answer. What should remain high on the agenda? Easy to answer. Now let us go to practice questions. Today I have brought only two exercises. Tomorrow you will get more, the regular pattern. Read sentence, five questions based on error location. Read the first one and try to spot the error. Drastic drop in number. Exactly. That's right. If you answer now itself, that's wonderful. But always try to answer complete sentence, right? Complete sentence. That helps in the long run. Excuse me. The huge tree laid on the mini truck after it got uprooted under the impact of gusty winds amid heavy rain. Now, where is the error? In my opinion, this is an important question. They have given many a time based on confusing verbs. There are two verbs. If you take the word lie, lie can be a noun, lie can be a verb. Lie, lied, lied, a regular verb, everyone knows. As an irregular verb, what are the forms? Lie, lay, lain. But we have another verb. What is that? Lay. And what is the past form? Laid, laid. And the sentence talks about this verb. Lie, lay, lain. Lie means what? It has two different meanings. One meaning to be in the horizontal position while relaxing. The other one to be in a particular state for a long time. Here it talks about that meaning, and the context goes into after it got uprooted, past, under the impact of gusty winds amid heavy rain. The whole context goes into the past, and we are not talking about this verb. We are talking about this verb, and the context goes into the past. What is the past form of lie? Lay. Based on that, laid is not correct. It should be Lay. I appreciate all those students who have answered correctly. Not easy under pressure, and the question is about confusing verbs. Please go to question number 2. He says he was aware of the great inheritance and responsibilities of sovereignty, was to follow the inspiring queen. This is also an important question. Once you respond, I will tell you where the error is. I want someone to respond. He says he was aware of the great inheritance. Some questions you don't have to read the complete sentence. First two parts you can answer. No one has answered so far. How come? Very good. Who is this Ganesh? Whenever you come across words like said, told, asked, ordered, requested, they are in the past form. You have to recollect direct and indirect. And what is the first rule? Statements. If the reporting verb, this is a reporting verb. If the reporting verb is in present, present perfect or future, tenses don't change to a corresponding past tense. But here, the actual statement, he is aware, he must have said, I am aware, present. Present remains in present. Based on that, there's an error in the second part. He says he is aware of the great inheritance and responsibilities. There's one more verb that is also in present. We cannot use it in past. What is the reason? The reporting verb, this is a clue for you. I will repeat the rule. If the reporting verb is in present, present perfect or future, tenses don't change to a corresponding past tense. This is all about speech. And related, to be very specific, statements, first rule. It's all about first rule that goes with statements. Question number 3, a lengthy sentence. Cloudburst events are associated often with cumulonimbus clouds that cause thunderstorms and occasionally due to monsoon wind surges and other weather phenomena. If you answer this, you should be happy. This is not an easy one under pressure. This is, in my opinion, the most difficult. of the 5 questions based on error location. Cloudburst events are associated often with cumulonimbus clouds that cause thunderstorms and occasionally due to monsoon wind surges and other weather phenomena. Where is the error? If there is no error, the fifth option. No, other weather phenomena, nothing wrong with this. Phenomenon singular, phenomena plural. Nothing wrong. As I said, this is a tough question. If you answer this, you should be happy. Not easy. Only a few can answer. There is an error in the second part. No, no, no. You are off the track. There is an error in the second part. Here we have one adverb. What is this adverb? It is adverb of frequency. There are 4 rules that go with adverbs of frequency. No error is not correct. There are 4 rules that go with adverbs of frequency. What is, in this context, what is a rule? First rule, adverbs of frequency come between the subject and the verb. That is the first rule. Second rule, if there are two verbs, adverbs of frequency come between after the first verb. Adverbs of frequency come after the first verb. What are the 2 verbs over here? Cloudburst events are associated. Now, if at all there is one more rule, if there is a helping verb, we have to use adverb of frequency after the helping verb. What is the helping verb here? Primary auxiliary to be in the present form are. Then we cannot use often here. We have to use cloudburst events are often associated. We have to use the word often after are. Then it is correct. Have you guys got it? Are often associated. That is the correct sentence. Not easy, as I said, nothing to worry. Let us go to question number 4. The plumes of smoke that raised into the atmosphere caused the temperatures to spike by 3 degrees Celsius over Australia. Thanks for responding, GK. Please go to question number 4. Ganesh also, that's good. Where is the error? Sentence number 4. This is also an important one. They have given in bank exams many a time, SSC also. No, that is not correct. Here, whenever you come across rise or raise, you have to become alert. We have 2 confusing verbs. Rise, rose, risen, intransitive verb and irregular verb. Then we have raise, raised, raised, transitive verb and a regular verb. Here you have to know for sure whether you have to use the intransitive verb or the transitive verb. Here it talks about the smoke going up. Then it is not about this one, it is about this one. The plumes of smoke that arise, context goes into the past. Here arose. Based on that we have to say the plumes of smoke that rose into the past form of rise, rose. Have you got it? The plumes of smoke that rose into the atmosphere. What is the reason? We have to use the intransitive verb or irregular verb because it talks about the position. Rise, rose, risen. I don't think you guys have got it. At least this, if you answer, this is the most difficult in my opinion. If you answer this, you have to be happy. Very good. At least 2/3 of the country is underwater. Some 33 million people have been displaced and more than 1,200 died. Where is the error? Cluster of smoke. At least 2/3 of the country is under water. Some 33 million people have been displaced and more than 1,200 died. Where is the error? No, no. See, whenever you come across two-thirds, that is a fraction. If the subject is a fraction, after that there is a phrase. In the phrase, you see a noun. What is a noun here? The word country. The verb agrees with the noun in the phrase that follows the fraction. Country is singular, is singular, nothing wrong with that. No, no, not at all. Listen very carefully. If the fraction is a subject, what is the subject here? Two-thirds. Then the verb agrees with the noun in the phrase that follows a fraction. What is the phrase here? Of the country. In this, what is a noun? Country. Country singular, verb agrees with the noun in the phrase, so nothing wrong. No, 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 no. Nothing wrong with two-thirds. As I said, this is not the question, not question number 3. This is the toughest. They have given in many exams, not easy to answer. Now here we have two clauses. 33 million people have been displaced. Answer my question, which tense is this? 33 million people have been displaced. Answer my question, which tense is it? It is present perfect in passive voice. Am I right? Have been displaced, present perfect passive voice. Why present perfect here? There is no time. No time phrase, past event, we have to use present perfect. And more than 1,200 died. You cannot use past tense here. The second clause also you have to use present perfect. Based on that, 1,200 have died. Then it is correct. What is the correct sentence? At least two-thirds of the country is underwater. Some 33 million people have been displaced. Nothing wrong. And more than 1,200 have died. We have to use present perfect for both the clauses. But here in the second clause, it is in past tense. That is the error. And what is the correct expression? 1,200 have died. And if you ask me the question, sir, why should we use present perfect? This sentence talks about a past event. Time phrase is not there. Any past event, no time phrase, we have to use present perfect tense. You have already learned. Now let us go to the para jumble, an easy one. There are 6 parts, very easy to get the correct order. For a change, after a gap of so many days, I thought it should be an easy one. Take the elimination approach, unexpected. They cannot be the first one because there is a pronoun. Hold the second one. They pronoun cannot be the first sentence. There is no subject, cannot be the first sentence. Contrasting word cannot be the first sentence. The recent frenzy about interventions, the recent frenzy cannot be the first one. So what is the first one? B is the first one. Very good. B. Let us start with B. What is B? Most people hate fluctuating prices. Fluctuating prices means what? Going up, coming down. Now 2 and 3 are a little confusing. First one is easy. B is the first one. But 2 and 3 a bit difficult, confusing, but if you focus on a few words, you can get the correct order. What is the second one? First, you have to know fluctuating prices means what? Going up and coming down. Based on that, you should get the second one. No, Ganesh, I said it's a little tricky. It is not A, it is C. You may ask why. When they fall too far, they mean the prices. They are seen to be threatening firms. Firms is a noun. When they rise too high, now you may get confused. Whether you have to use the rise or the fall, there's a clue for you. When they fall too far, they are seen to be threatening firms. Firms means companies. When they rise too high, they are seen to be unjustly enriching them. Them means what? Firms. Noun, pronoun. So what is the correct order? BCA is the correct order. That's right. BCA, the correct order. After that, but economists look at price movements and see the revelation of crucial information. What is the next one? E is the next one. The recent frenzy about interventions in European electricity markets is an especially brutal example of this age-old dynamic. And the last two, FB. So what is the correct order? Roller coaster prices. BCAEFD. That is the correct order. Now let us go to enrich your word power, editorial vocabulary. Try to answer quickly. You can write the part of speech, the meaning you have to match. Incremental part of speech adjective. What does it mean? Happening gradually in small amounts. Answer is F. Plow can be a noun, a tool. It can be a verb. Excuse me. What is the meaning? Lose in soil as a verb. Answer is J. J is the answer. No, second one, J is the answer. Yield, part of speech, it can be a verb, it can be a noun. Simple, produce as a noun. Answer is A. Retard, it is a verb, it's a regular verb. Retarded growth means what? Delay or hold back in terms of growth or progress. Answer is H. Spreads, part of speech, noun, means what? Spread, it could be a verb as well. Spray liquid at or onto something. Answer is C. Jab, it can be a noun. Okay. What is the answer? Sixth one. Poke roughly or quickly. You can also think inject. Answer is E. This is a new word, trypanophobia. Trypanophobia means what? Extreme fear of medical procedures involving needles. Answer is, this is a noun. Answer is I. Phobia means what? Fear. Heterogeneous, diverse in character. Adjective, part of meaning B. Diverse, not the same. A realm, an important word. Sphere or activity or field. Field or domain of activity. Answer is D. Adverse, adjective. Adverse report means what? Unfavorable. Unfavorable. Has anyone got all the 10 correct? That's highly appreciable. That's all for today. Do remember to subscribe and